Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin and Rugby Preview Show. And join me to look ahead to the beginning of Ireland's Six Nations title defence is someone making his 73rd pod appearance. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
How are we? It is like Christmas morning. Well, Christmas Eve, and we are. I'm very, very excited. I actually, as a dad, the pressure on Christmas Eve is very different. So this is my real Christmas Eve now, as we get ready for the Six Nations.
Yes, thank God for Sixtmas. All right. Well, listen, before we talk about that, just wondering if you had any thoughts. Did you get to see that Six Nations Netflix thingy?
Yeah, I'm feeling very weird because I'm actually quite enjoying it. So I wasn't expecting a warts and all documentary. No coach is going to let the cameras all the way in. Obviously, I'd love to see what goes on in a dressing room, but I think in terms of growing the game, which is the objective, they already have our money, they already have our votes. I think it's a really good introduction to a lot of the big characters. You look at the opening one with Scotland and Finn Russell, he's Marmite, and that's it. And then we move on to kind of Ellis Genge as well, who, for me, I never even thought about him as a human, just as a player on the pitch, and like very sound fella.
Yep.
And then we move on to our own Andrew Porter, who is just a superstar. We already knew that, but for people who didn't know these players, and look, two out of the three I didn't really have any interest in. I'm now engaged. I'm now interested. I now follow them all on social media, and that's the point. We're growing the game. People are kind of losing their minds and giving out about. Hardcore fans will do that. That's kind of the way it is. But if you take off the provincial jersey or the big jersey and just watch it as a documentary, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I think these hardcore fans you're talking about, I think there's sort of a lot of it's almost a greedy thing. It's like we want to keep the game to ourselves,
Mm.
and we almost resent other people trying to get to know it. But which is kind of the what this show is for, what it was designed for. And I think I think it did as good a job as any. It's been unfortunate the way it kind of highlighted some players, Dupont, Reese Zammit, and Farrell, who actually won't be taking part in the competition. That didn't fall right for them, but still, it was sure we'll watch any rugby, anything that's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anything with the oval ball going. So they had us before it even started.
Well,
But
if anyone is giving out about it, there's a new one on Netflix that we watched the other night about the Uruguay rugby team crashing in the Andes. That might be more your style if you don't like the Six Nations documentary. So there's
uh,
something for everyone.
or maybe not. Maybe if you're not having dinner while you're watching it, might be a good idea.
Yeah.
There's another one out today, by the way. Just while I was saying it, there's whistleblowers. I'm looking forward to that. That actually released on the day we're recording. It's all about the referees at the World Cup, so that's worth looking as well. I'm not working for RugbyPass.tv, but it's on there anyway. So if anyone wants to check that out. Okay, so now it's time to look at our feature match of the week, which is, of course, France v Ireland in round one of the 2024 Guinness Men's Six Nations. It's taking place at the Orange Velodrome in Marseille on Friday, February the 2nd, kicking off at 8 p.m. Irish time. TV coverage in Ireland is on Virgin Media One. As ever, you can find the full listings for the weekend on harpinandrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Ireland named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Wednesday. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there in the screen, or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Now, Keego came up with a few points on this team, starting with one about the team in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in a new age now. The king has retired, and we're seeing, long live the new king. And the things I was looking for, I was looking excited at number 10, who's going to be number four, and with the injuries and everything, who's going to be number 14. Those were the big things I was looking at when the team was coming out, because I kind of assumed, and obviously with Captain Pete there as well. With it, in times of transition, you need a captain who has seen absolutely everything, done everything, all that sort of stuff. So he's a great choice for captain. Hopefully we can take care of him, keep him here, blah blah blah. That's another day's work. But number 10 was a big story because we love Frawley, but he hasn't a lot of time at 10. You look at Crowley, excuse me, in Munster, who we also like and has been given a lot of time at 10. But when you get a lot of time, you're also going to make mistakes as you're growing into the position. King Johnny had that, O'Gara had that, everybody had that as they're coming in. So I think the call at 10 is the right call. The experienced player, is in that position. I think Frawley at 23 is brilliant for him. And it's also the 6'2 that's kind of it kind of builds him in there. But then into number 4, and is Big Joe going to start? Is he going to come on? What's the story with Byrne and Ryan? How's all this going to work? I wasn't expecting Ryan to start on the bench, which it's a big call to leader off the bench, but a leader to come on. But Joe coming on beside Byrne, I believe it is, to call he's going to be calling the lineouts. It's going to be great to see him. Big day for him. No doubt, Super Joe is going to be there ready to rock. And then 14 was the big one as well. My last one with Hansen out and a couple of injuries back and forth. Is Frawley going to start? 23, whatever it is. I love the fact Nash is in there. I think he's done a great job. I think he's the right call. A relatively new face. Big start, big day for him. So like, considering the injuries, you got Henshaw in there in 13, which is not necessarily his best position, but you can't take Aki out of that 12 jersey. Ringrose with a bit of a shoulder injury. All this kind of things are changing or moving around, but I think the selection was pretty impressive considering what we're going into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like a lot of people said when he announced the squad that didn't seem a whole lot of changes, but and he really only seems to have fixed is probably a bad word, but the enforced changes to the team as he had it at the World Cup. But still, I mean, he kind of did with Calvin Nash what he did with Mac Hansen. I mean, Mac Hansen came right in to the starting lineup, and why couldn't Nash do the same? It's a real opportunity for him. Plus, it's a fresh face that the French will be studying how we play, and he's a different type of player, and it might change things up in just the right amount. Joe McCarthy, well, we've seen how he can. I think one aspect where it's going to have to be very important is going after their lineout. I mean, obviously our own set pieces are going to have to be golden as well, but we're really going to have to make an impact on them and stop them from playing the way they want. And Joe McCarthy has shown himself a real pest at especially in defensive mauls and stuff like that. So there's loads of opportunities in the team, loads of familiar names, obviously, that we would have expected to be there. And then finally, you've got, like you say, Crowley at 10. I think he was the only choice to take it, really. Frawley's kind of falls into that kind of category of, well, he's versatile. If they're going to go with the 6'2 bench, he is Mr. 23, which is it's a terrible stamp to have, but it's still a crucial role for the team, especially if you're going with that kind of selection. But there's just loads of possibilities with this team, and I look forward to see how they get on. So that moves on to our second point, which is basically our new skipper.
Absolutely. There was really no other option. I think taking the blue jersey off, putting the green jersey on, there was no other option. I think when you're going through change, as we just said, having someone who's been through everything is the way to go. There's stuff going on around that need to be sorted out too. But I think when you're maybe uncertainty is creeping in with a couple of selections, or you look around the team and there's a new face, what are they going to be like, blah, blah, blah. And you look at the captain, and the captain is ready to rock, ready to leave it all out there like he always does. He leaves everything but the shoelaces out there. And we're going to need that. Like, even from a gameplay point of view, I want to see him heading up to Jalabert and just saying, how are you doing early doors, just to put a bit of pressure on him. But I think he's the best choice for captain. I think there's no lack of respect from any point in this nation. And I think it's going to be great to just see him walk out and lead that team, even though he's been a leader forever. This is the armband for him. This is the big day for him. And you're going to see him screaming the anthem. You're going to see him screaming at people. And you're going to see him being, working the game in terms of refereeing with all that experience behind him. So look, I'm delighted for him. All the other stuff we need to sort out, but I'm just delighted for him.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there's no question he was. If there was a line, he was next in line, definitely. And I don't think anyone in this current squad deserved the chance more if he wanted to do it, which he obviously did. There's, like you say, there's some stuff's going on in the background, but I just want to leave them to it. That's totally up to them. There's no doubt anyone who knows him knows he's going to be fired up and ready to play on the day. And just having him in the dressing room is like just raises everyone else's game instantly. What you said about James Ryan being on the bench, I think in this case, the only thing I would say about O'Mahony is I'm not I wouldn't be 100% sure of him being able to play 80 minutes in all 5 matches.
Mhm.
So it's good to have some leaders on the bench coming off to take over when needs be, especially with Ringrose is out as well. He'd be part of that leadership group. So it is a kind of good balance in terms of the leadership there throughout the 80 minutes. But we'll see how we get on. Okay, so your third point is about just basically how both teams would be up for this.
Yeah, I do think France fancy a shot. I think they've watched Crowley play all year, and as we said, that's great. He's got minutes in the boots in the position, but we've also seen the mistakes he's made, which is going to happen. So I think they're going to fancy a crack at him. I think there's certain narratives around Andrew Porter being a penalty machine coming back in. They're going to fancy having a squeeze at him. The second row is not necessarily our our top starting second row. They're going to fancy a shot at that. There's also talk of one of the Tuolagi brothers coming in that came out
Yes,
today.
that monster that was playing in the under 20s final, I think it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff, but I do think they're going to fancy. They almost have a free shot when you take Dupont out. They almost get a free shot. Now, in France, you never get a free shot at anything, but I mean, they almost have a free shot with him gone because they can say, we could have beaten them if Dupont was there. You know what I mean? If they're close at the end, but I think they really will fancy it. They want to take a shot. They want to start big, as all teams do. And listen, regardless of what we want to say, we've got to say it out loud. Like, these are the two best teams in the competition coming out first on Friday night. They're going to leave everything out there. So, to win this game, there's going to be injuries. There's hopefully no bad injuries, but there's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises after this. So, the winner of this isn't necessarily going to win the competition. I don't think there's a Grand Slam going this year, but I do think that the winner of this is really, and if there was somehow to get a bonus point out of this, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's we were like I've said before that I wasn't crazy about Dupont going off to play sevens for the sake of for the players who have played sevens for France,
Mhm.
but also for the Six Nations, which I think is should take precedence. But as it is, you'd be thinking, well, he's not going to be there, and Intermac's not going to be there, maybe. And then you look at the team, you're like, okay, listen, there's no point in that.
Yeah,
There's no point looking at that. They've got 2, 3 players who can fill all their shoes at pretty much every position. I mean, even Ramos at 15,
yeah.
he's been playing incredible rugby at 10 for Toulouse this season. So it's like they've got options. They're gonna have a full 23, and you got both teams expected to do better at the World Cup. So there's that on the line as well as the potential championship decider in game one. So it's a whole lot to play for, and it's just a question of who wants it more, I guess, and who gets the breaks early on.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so now let's have a quick look at the referees there. You'll see them there in the screens. Carl Dixon holding the whistle with his team there. The weather for Marseille on Friday evening is meant to be clear, not much wind, no rain, so that sounds like a perfect night to kick off the competition. And before we look at predictions and whatnot, how about a quick look at the other games? Italy, England, and Wales, Scotland.
Yeah, after watching the Six Nations documentary, I like Ellis Genge. Do you know what I mean? And it's affecting my interest in England, watching England play. I'll be watching that game. I love Italy. I hope they do well. But Jesus, Genge is such a likable bloke. You kind of go, okay, I kind of want him to do well. He's a bit of a prick on the pitch, as a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
are. But you know, a,
The likable prick.
a likable prick, a bit like myself, she would say.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of go like, yeah, I'm going to be watching that. I'm actually going to get to watch all the games for the first time in a long time in any competition. I have commandeered the telly Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So,
Wow.
yeah, all the brownie points are being cashed in pretty quickly. So, but no, it's going to be great. I'm going to be, but I am looking forward to Italy, England.
Yep. And Wales, Scotland. How do you see that?
Yeah, I don't know. Thrilling 0-0 draw. You know what I mean? I don't really have a massive interest in Wales and Scotland. With all the love for our Welsh and Scottish brothers and sisters, I have no real interest in that, but I will watch it. Um, you know, I
Well, if you get bored, you have the option of Munster v Crusaders playing exactly the same time over on TG Car.
Well, I'm going to record that just in case I have sleeping problems later on. I'll just flick that on. Like we need to needle Munster even when we got the big jersey on. Like I'll watch it. I want to see Finn Russell. I think he came off really well in the documentary, which I guess is the whole point. But Wales are hopefully on the comeback as well. So that'll be kind of a distant third in what I'm going to watch this weekend.
Yeah, that's an interesting game to start as well because there's been a shift because we had that bottom category of two. It was always Italy, Scotland every year, but that's really changed over the past couple of seasons. So Wales be keen to get out of that though. But anyway, listen. Before we go on, a quick shout out to the under-20s who are also kicking off on. They're kicking off Saturday evening. That's also on the telly. And if you look back one in our podcast feed, I had ball handling hooker, who's a bit of an expert on the under-20s team. He was looking at the squad, so check that out if you can. Okay, so this leaves us to put your head on the block and give us an out prediction there, man.
Well, listen, going to France, playing that French team, it's gonna be difficult. I think it's similar to relatively recent journeys out there. I think it's like a drop goal, something like that. Something happens in the last quarter of the game for either side, and I think it's going to be us. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Crowley with a drop goal with 5 minutes to go, and we win by, I'll say 3, but it could end up being by 1. I think it's that close. I don't think there's a huge amount of tries in the game. I think it's 1 try each, and it's us by 3.
It has a kind of a squeaky bum ending element to it. All right, yeah. Like I say, I think we have to go after their set piece.
Yeah,
I think we have to be and we have to hit the ground running defensively. More important than anything else, they're going to be coming at us from all angles. But if we know full well if you give the likes of Penno and all them a sniff from anywhere in the park, you're screwed. So
yeah.
it's going to be an 80-minute contest for sure. Okay, listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us again. What stand-up gigs have you got lined up down the road?
So on Tuesday, we're in Barrua and Stevens Green, and then the following Monday, heading out to Galway. So all of our Galway listeners, we'll see you in the King's Head Monday week.
Excellent. And of course, we'll find all those links in the program notes. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks, Keego, for coming on. Hope to see you on soon, man. Thanks again.
Cheers.
And many thanks to you all for tuning in to our latest preview show. Enjoy the match wherever you are. Be sure to follow us on all the usual social media channels, including Blue Sky. We will, of course, have a wrap pod for you this week, recording on Sunday evening. So hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.